I don't think I ever really did this, at least not for a while. But I definitely want to shout out my mom, my dad. I want to shout out my siblings. I want to shout out my lovely wife. I want to shout out my son, who is now actually officially on the intro. I put my son on the
Hey,
intro.
Tyson.
So if you hear a little baby voice on the intro with the drops, that is my son Tyson. So I had to do that, man. And my wife is actually on the intro too a little bit. So shout out to them. Go, go, go. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey. You know what time it is? Yeah. You know what time it is? Some people are probably like, what time is it? You know what time it is.
It's showtime.
The first, the initial, the numero uno. This is the Coach T, and I'm happy to present this. This is the Coach T NBA show with BG and Zay. We are here officially. I'm excited to have these two guys. I've been knowing them for a while. Gruber, I've known for the last 3 years. Isaiah, I've known for the last year or so. Right, Isaiah, we coached football together as well. Both of these guys I coached basketball with, but they are here, both former college basketball players, college athletes, great guys, great individuals, great energy, NBA fans, basketball fans in general. I think you guys would be excited to have them on the show. And again, this is the first Coach T NBA show, so I'm excited to get this rolling, man. We've been talking about this for a while, but without further ado, I'm going to let these guys introduce themselves. We will begin with the Brandon Gruber, which, by the way, Brandon, you don't know this, my co-host for the college football show, Mook, his son is Jacoby Moore, who says you are his favorite math teacher at the middle school. Did you know that?
I did not.
You're everybody's favorite, man.
Yeah, it's hard. I just try to build those relationships, but yeah, it's not an easy job, but I appreciate that. So
somebody's got to do it, right?
Somebody has to do it, yeah. But yeah, so I'm Brandon Gruber. I played college basketball my first year, Elmhurst University in Illinois. And then I finished on my playing career at IU Northwest, Indiana University Northwest in Gary, Indiana. Currently teaching middle school math at Hobart Middle School, and I'm the assistant varsity basketball coach at Hobart High School.
Hey man, don't be so shy, man. Tell them about your high school career a little bit, man. Tell them about all the points you scored. Tell them about all the assists you had, all the wins you had. Come on now, don't be bashful, man.
Not too much. I was a 3-year varsity player. Ended up scoring over 1,000 points in my career. Player or MVP of the conference, Porter County Conference. All-state honorable mention. Won a sectional championship my senior year.
Light work.
Nothing too crazy.
I love it, man. Isaiah, what about you, man? Introduce yourself to the great people out there.
Definitely. And thanks for having me on the show, Coach T. And a pleasure to be alongside you, BG. My name's Isaiah Gransberry, and I am a basketball and football coach at Hobart High School, as Coach T mentioned, where I also graduated from in 2016. Following my high school graduation, I attended Benedictine University, where I played football and basketball there for the Eagles, and then graduated with a degree in communication arts. And now I'm back at the high school, as I just mentioned, coaching football with Coach T and basketball with Coach T and Coach BG, having a great time there. And I also, on the side, have the privilege of coaching Team GR3, which is Northwest Indiana's
the new announcement too, right?
Yes, very new.
Yes.
The newest.
Repeat that part. I cut you off. What the exclusive? What was it?
Northwest Indiana's exclusive AAU basketball program,
Exclusive.
sponsored by the Glenn Robinson III, Team GR3. You guys will hear about it a few times over the show and on the internet as well. But it's just been a privilege just to coach in general.
All right, dope. And you also look, he won't say it, and both of you guys won't say these things, but for Gransberry, I mean, a marketing genius. Has his hands in a bunch of different things. Well, tell these people about what you were doing last night, man. Where were you, man? You always doing something different. Where were you?
Marketing is just fun. It's just fun helping people build brands. And last night I had the opportunity to do something cool with Elvis tribute artists. So they are currently on tour. Due to me coaching, I'm not able to travel with them like I would like. But however, I was able to go to their show last night in front of a packed house, and they were performing, and it was just a pretty cool thing, you know, giving tribute to Elvis Presley, the late great, performing all of his songs from his early age to the end age. Some pretty cool stuff for sure.
All right, dope, man. Well, hey, people got a chance to hear about you guys and, you know, what you do and your background a little bit. Now they're ready to hear you on the show, man. And I'm really excited again. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for being a part of this. And let's start with the teams of the week. Teams and the players of the week. And I'm actually going to steal that. What was that again? That was GR3. What's the official name of the team? GR3?
Team GR3.
Team GR3. All right, so we're going to give a special shout out to Team GR3. So with our players and teams of the week, this is a special shout out to Team GR3, the exclusive travel basketball program of Northwest Indiana. We will let Brandon Gruber begin. BG, I'm going to call you, man. And we will begin with the conference team and the conference player of the week. You can begin on any conference. I would love if we can start with the Eastern Conference.
I think this one's a pretty obvious one lately, being from where we're from. You know, Coach T likes to call them the Chicago basketball team, but I got the Bulls as my team in the East. They've won, well, up until tonight, they won 9 straight games. They did end up losing to the Mavericks tonight, but they had 9 straight wins coming into that. And then for my Western Conference team of the week, actually a couple here. The Grizzlies, kind of surprisingly, no one really talks about them. They don't really have any star player, but they have 8 straight wins coming in, and they got wins against the Suns, the Lakers, the Spurs, the Nets, and the Cavs, all pretty decent teams there. But also the Mavericks, 6 straight wins for the Mavs, including a win over the Bulls tonight. And they also have wins over the Warriors and the Nuggets. So those are my teams of the week for the East and the West there.
And with the Mavs, BG, like, they haven't had Luka in all those games. Like, Luka just started coming back, and I think he came back for a game or two and then didn't play in a game a couple nights ago. So, I mean, the fact that the Mavs are even hanging on and showing what they can do, that's just a testament to their coaching and their program, man. And, you know, so shout out to Jason Kidd, man, for getting it done.
Yeah, I think, you know, Luka being in and out of the lineup this year quite a bit with, you know, different reasons. It's helping other guys step up and contribute a little bit more so that when he comes back, they feel a little more comfortable. They're a little more well-rounded.
Zay, where you at? Who you got, man? Team and players of the last week for East Conference.
So I'm gonna have to go with the Bulls as well. You know,
oh Lord,
yeah, and not, you know, it's not gonna be too many times I'm gonna agree with everybody on the show, but I will agree with BG on this one. The Bulls, they just red hot right now, just playing great team basketball. A team that people thought that they would get to that next level, but they didn't think that they would get there that soon. You know, for sakes, the Lions had them not even getting past 42 wins on the season. So I think they're definitely exceeding expectations right now, and that's definitely my Eastern Conference team of the week. For the player, have to go with Demar Derozan. He's just been on fire lately. Back-to-back games. First player in NBA history to have back-to-back games with game-winning shots, and also just leading the team in many different aspects, but more so his leadership. And he scores 26.5 points a game, and he's on the boards. He's getting assists, but just when he's on the floor, you can just see how in sync he has the offense and everything going for the offense. And even when he's not producing, he's an impact on the floor for sure. For the Western Conference, I'm going to have to go with the Lakers. You know, they were kind of falling off. People say they're on a 4-game win streak right now. You know, LeBron, he's doing what he can do while the team is coming along with him. We chatted the other night and spoke about how that team, they have pieces. They definitely have pieces. They have youth, and they have the pieces in place. But the biggest thing that they have that other teams don't have is LeBron. He's going to make sure those guys keep their heads sane, and while they're going through this process, and it's a process. It's exactly that. So congrats to them, 4-game win streak for sure. And for my Western Conference player of the week, I'm gonna have to go with Ja Morant. So Ja Morant, he's been battling injuries himself, but just in general, just leading the Grizzlies to, as BG mentioned, to some great wins in general over some quality opponents. You can't really look away from what he's doing, even though he hasn't been at 100% due to injury. He's still averaging 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and he's doing it not against the little Sallies of the NBA. He's doing it against quality opponents. So I definitely look for him to continue having a big week or a big year and a big season. And he's a sprouting star, in my opinion.
And who was that again? You're saying Ja Morant?
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant. Yeah. So let me actually start with this. I want to start with the Western Conference, since you just hit on the Western Conference. I agree with you guys that, I mean, the Grizzlies have been phenomenal, especially this past week. You know, they're winners of 8 straight. They have just been, I mean, they've taken down some giants. I think they beat the Nets last week. They definitely beat the Lakers last week. So they're just a team that, and again, we got to think about how they finished last year, right? They had a surprise season. They knocked off Golden State last year in the play-in, and they just have a young, youthful team that can surprise a lot of people. They honestly remind me a lot of OKC when they had Durant and they had Westbrook and they had Harden. Like the fact that they just are a young team that a lot of these older cats don't want to play. They don't want to play, and to me, Ja Morant is a superstar. He's that guy. So that will be my first team in the Western Conference. And I actually, on that team is my player of the week last week, a guy that no one ever talks about, ever talks about, but Desmond Bane, y'all. Like, and that's a local kid too from Richmond, Indiana. So shout out to him. Shout out to Richmond, Indiana. But in the last 8 games that they've won, he's had, check this out. He's had points. He had 23 points, he had 11 points, he had 29 points, 17 points, 20 points, 32 points, 28 points. Yo, he be balling. And the fact that, let me check the stats on the year, he can shoot the blood out of the ball. He's shooting 42% from 3 this year, averaging 17.5 points and 90% from 3. Like, Desmond Bane is one of those guys. I think he has a great chance to win most improved player for the Grizzlies. So I think he's done a phenomenal job. And another team in the West, not really talked about. They kind of flamed out a lot of it's just not one of those teams that a lot of people want to talk about, and that has been the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are winners of 4 straight, and they have been another team that's gelling at the right time. So I wanted to shout them out. In the Eastern Conference, you guys talk about the Bulls, and I love what the Bulls have been doing. The Chicago basketball team, I should say. Sorry, guys. I love what they've been doing, but I love also what the Philadelphia 76ers have been doing. Who are my team in the East of the week, and then my player of the week in the East has to be their big man, Joel Embiid, man. The way he's been balling, he is a guaranteed 30-piece a night, y'all. Like, he is unstoppable. He is a new version of Shaq, in my opinion. The fact that he cannot be stopped down low. If you give anybody his size, he's dominating them. You give him somebody smaller than him, he's dominating them. You somehow find a joker that is bigger than him, which is hard to do. He is dominating him. He can score from all 3 levels. He's been assisting the ball a lot better. And again, he's a walking 30-piece. And the Sixers, they have won 6 straight, y'all. 6 straight. And again, they deal with all this turmoil that is Ben Simmons, who just collecting checks on the sideline and not having to play. But they dealing with all that, and Joel Embiid has put the city of Philadelphia on his back. So those are my players and teams of the week, of last week. So I definitely like what you guys did there. I like that we had some variety, and I like the fact that in the NBA, there's really no clear-cut team and or player that is head and shoulders above anyone else. So I like that.
Can I hop in and give my players of the week? I forgot to do that.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah. Hit it. Give it to us, man.
I know this is going to sound, very generic, very, popular picks here, but I do play fantasy basketball, so I had to look up some stats over the last 7 days. In the East, you got Trae Young in the last 7 days, averaging 40 and a half points.
He had a 56 piece against Portland.
Yeah, 6.5 rebounds, 14 assists. But they are 0-2 in his last 2 games played against Lakers and Portland. In the East, you also got Giannis averaging 35 points, 9.7 rebounds, 6.3 assists in the last 7 days. And then over in the West, you got Jokic in his last 4 games in the last 7 days, 28 points, 15.7 rebounds, 7 assists. So, he's balling out too right now.
Yeah, I like it. Again, let me ask you guys this, and this is a spur of the moment, and you don't have to really answer who your pick will be, but isn't it cool to think about the fact that we have no clear-cut MVP right now? Like, we can each name 2 or 3 guys that have potential to win the MVP this year. And that's not traditional. That's not by this point. A lot of times you pretty much have a clear-cut guy, and then you have maybe 2 or 3 guys outside of them that have an outside chance. But right now it's open floor for about 5 to 8 guys that can win the MVP this year.
It is. Yeah,
go ahead, Zach.
And to that point, but at this point in every other season, you would look at the LeBron and the Durant and be like, okay, well, these guys are going to win it again. And some people, the general population might be thinking that as well, because LeBron is averaging almost 30 points a game, and he's, 37 years old? So, and definitely hats off to him. But to your point, the youth in the NBA has been thriving this year. Ja Morant, the Luka Doncic.
I just say Luka. I don't even say his last name. I just say Luka. Trae Young.
Trae Young.
Yep.
The Demar Derozan, the Zach Levines, the Darius Garland from Cleveland. They've all been thriving. There's a lot of different names from top to bottom, and that later in the show, like you mentioned, we'll be talking about all-star picks. It was actually hard. I'm sitting here looking at all these guys' stats and what they've been doing this year, and I'm like, man. And I even told you, the Eastern Conference, they are loaded with young talent.
You slept on the East, man. They still got some beasts in the East.
Yeah, I did. But definitely hats off to. That's pretty awesome that that many different guys, and it makes the NBA really exciting to watch.
Yeah, and look, let's roll right into it, man, because you brought it up. The fan results, the first results for the All-Star voting came out, which I got a little bit of a gripe about, because somehow, some way, I think Kyrie Irving is up there, right? Is he?
Yes.
Come on, man, Kyrie, he played 1 game all year.
Kyrie's number 6.
Yeah, enough is enough. He's number 6 and only played 1 game, but I digress, man. It kind of reminds me of the Yao Ming days where, he had I think his rookie year, I think he was averaging maybe 13, 14 points, but I think he was outpacing Shaq for votes, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that, he had a whole country behind him voting for him. So, but for the most part, a lot of these picks make sense. A lot of the fans are voting the right people. Let me pull up this list. All right, here we go. So let's do this. And we will go through our picks for the 2022 NBA All-Star Game starters. This is a special shout out to Hobart basketball, man. Special shout out to the team that we coach, the program that we coach for. So special shout out to the Bricks. I won't go through all of the entire list. But what we'll do is obviously we'll pick our starters. I'll let BG start, but just for the fans out there in the Western Conference, And clearly, guys, if you know anything about the All-Star voting, they do front court and they do guards. I'll give you the top 5 for each. In the Western Conference, the top 5 for the quote-unquote front court is LeBron James, number 1, Nikola Jokic, number 2, Paul George, number 3, Andrew Wiggins, number 4, who's had a really good breakout year, and then Draymond Green, he's number 5. So you got 2 teammates rounding out the top 5. In the Western Conference for the guards, you have Wardell, Stephen Curry at number 1. You have Luka at number 2. You got Ja Morant at number 3. You got Klay Thompson. Again, this is another version, right? Where, come on, Klay has played 1 game to this point, and I got love for Klay. Klay's number 4, and then Devin Booker's number 5. I'll give you a number 6, which is Chris Paul. And then in the Eastern Conference for the front court, we have number 1, we got Durant. Number 2, we got Giannis. Number 3, we got my big boy Joel Embiid. Number 4 is Tatum. And number 5 is Jimmy Butler. And then for the guards in the Eastern Conference, number 1 is DeMar DeRozan. Number 2, James Harden. Number 3, Trae Young. Number 4 is Zach LaVine. And number 5, BG's boy, LaMelo Ball. So BG, we'll begin with you. Who are your starters if the NBA All-Star happened today? Who are your starters for the NBA All-Star?
All right, I'm going to start with the West this time. So in the West, not many surprises here. I got Steph starting point guard. I got Luka in that second guard spot. I got Booker starting. He can put up some points. I like the way he plays. LeBron as my forward, and the Joker, Jokic, as my center there. In the East, similar here, but maybe a surprise. I'm going to start in a backwards order here. I got Embiid at center. Like you mentioned, he's balling out, MVP candidate this year. You got Giannis as a forward, another MVP candidate. Durant, he's probably in that second tier MVP candidate list. All great guys. In my guard spot, got to go with DeRozan, man. What a difference his career's been. He's had a great career, but man, just reunited with the Bulls, man. He's got them playing good. I know we talked about it as a coaching staff before the year started. We figured the Bulls would end up in that 5th or 6th seed in the East, but for them to be leading the East right now, I think their 3rd overall record in the whole league. And DeRozan is a huge part of that. He's been closing out games for them, and that's just something they've been missing. And then to round out my East, you kind of broke it out early, but this is an all-star game, so the fans want to see a show. So I got to go with LaMelo Ball as my point guard.
LaMelo. Okay. So you're going with the Ball. Hey, so read off your West starters again, because I want to take these down. So I'm going to shoot these out to the fans.
Yeah, so for my West, I got Steph at the point guard position. I got Luka as my guard. Devin Booker is my forward / guard. LeBron as the other forward, and then Jokic as my center.
I like that. It's a good little, that'd be a good little matchup if you saw that. What about you, Zay? Who you got?
So for my Western Conference starters, I have LeBron, of course, and then Nikola Jokic, and Steph Curry, Ja Morant, and Luka. I'm just gonna leave it there. Luka. So that's for the Western Conference, and all those guys, they've been doing what they can do for their team, and it's just like, man. But that's a powerful team right there. But on the Eastern Conference, these guys, they've been doing it as well, and even the Chicago basketball team, they're gonna have a lot of love in this. No bias included, but a lot of love in this starting 5.
No bias, but a lot of bias.
Yes, basically. So Kevin Durant, he's gonna obviously be in there, a lead scorer, and then you have Giannis, who's just been Giannis. He does everything and does everything very well. DeMar DeRozan, with what he's done with the Chicago Bulls early on this season, how can he has to be rewarded? He has to be rewarded. Yep. Big reward coming for him. And Trae Young, he's an elite scorer, and he's earned it as well. It might not reflect in their record, but they've been competitive all season long, partially because of him. And that's great. And then Zach LaVine rounding out the starting 5. Man, Zach LaVine, He's the showstopper. You talk about All-Star game, putting on a show. That man, if he entered the dunk contest every year, he'll probably win it. So I definitely get him up in there.
All right, so let me look at this. And again, I told you guys I didn't really prep here, but listening to you guys, and that's why I'm in the third slot, just to get a little advantage. But listening to you guys, talk about it. I'm going to start with the East because that's the first conference I have pulled up. I got to go with Durant. I got to go with DeRozan. Again, DeRozan is with a team that has exceeded expectations, so you got to reward him. And I do think Zach Levine is going to be an all-star this year as well. I don't think he's going to be a starter necessarily, but you'll definitely get at least two guys from the Chicago Bulls, and those two are the main two culprits of the reason why they're doing what they're doing. So I got Durant, I got DeRozan, I got Giannis, and now I need two other guards. I'm sorry. I got Embiid. So I got three front courts. I got Embiid. I got Giannis. I got Durant. I got DeRozan. So I need one more for the Eastern Conference. And who else do I have here, man? So I really want to go off again because to me they reward players for what they've done and what their teams have done. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bit. He's not even in the voting, so that actually surprises me. But I think for the other guard spot, just as a wild card, I'm going to throw in, you mentioned him earlier, Zay, Darius Garland. Like, the Cavs right now, they're 5 games above 500. They're in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference. They are four games away from the Bucks, who are in the 4th spot. So they got a chance to potentially be in the 4th spot. And I think for sure Darius Garland will be an all-star. It's kind of a stretch that he would actually be a starter, but I just want to show him love. So I'm going to put him as a starter for my squad. And then in the Western Conference, I got to go, top team is the Suns. The second best team are the Warriors. And the third best team are actually the Jazz. So I kind of want to put Donovan Mitchell in there just because he's one of those guys that you talk about being slept on. He's one of those slept on guys. I mean, to me, he's just as good as a Devin Booker, right? And he's actually won early in his career way more than Devin Booker. But I do have Booker in there. I definitely got Steph in there. Those are automatics. When it comes to front court, and I got the slowest computer right now, but when it comes to front court for the Western Conference, I got to go with the Joker. I love what he's doing. I got to go with LeBron. I mean, I think he's, again, surprise, another year where he could, is in the MVP race. So those are 4 guys there. I got my 2 bigs. And I think number 3, which would be another guard for me, another wing type. Actually, I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell. I mentioned him earlier. It was really between Donovan Mitchell and Ja Morant. Luka, I love his game and I love what he does, but he just hasn't played enough games for me. I think he will be an all-star, but to be a starter is tough. So my Western Conference would, again, be Steph. It'd be Donovan Mitchell along with Devin Booker. And then the 2 front court guys would be LeBron James and the Joker. Then in the Eastern Conference, I got Durant, I got Giannis, and I got Joel Embiid. And then I got DeMar DeRozan and a sneaky guy, which is actually 9th in voting, which is going to be tough to even be there. But I just want to give him a shout out. That would be Darius Garland. All right, so it's good, man. We got some different guys, man. What do you guys just takes overall in the All-Star game? Like, regardless of who starts and all that, like, is this something you look forward to? Is it something you actually watch? I'll speak from personal experience. I love the All-Star game. Like, I love watching it. I love the excitement. I love the fact that, especially the last couple of years, first 3 quarters, they kind of, showcase for the fans of what they can do. And then the 4th quarter, it seems like they flip a switch and, they're kind of told maybe from the higher ups, like, all right, y'all, like, come on now, let's play a real game. And I love the fact that they actually do that. Some of the other things, the dunk contest is huge. I love that. I love the 3-point contest. That's become such a huge part of our game. The skills thing, I'm not really big on. A slept on part, I love the world versus the young guys. I don't know what they necessarily call it. I love when they do that. But what is you guys' take? And we'll start with you, BG, on the All-Star game weekend as a whole.
Yeah, I definitely think the new format that they've changed to a couple years ago in that 4th quarter, I think it's definitely made it made it interesting. The last couple of years have been super intense. I remember when Kobe was still in the league, when they first started that, one of his last All-Star appearances, they were kind of going at each other down the stretch there. And it's just nice to see these elite guys, playing competitive basketball. You got the best of the best in the world, some of the best athletes in the world. Basketball players are some of the best athletes out there. And when they're going full speed and full competitiveness at one another, that's just got to be one of the best shows on earth. I don't think they've released who's in the dunk contest yet this year, but for me, that's hit or miss. I wish my boy Zion could get himself together so he could.
That was my next question. Who you would actually like to see in there?
Yeah, so he could get in the dunk contest. But like Zay brought up, man, you got a lot of young guys that are high flyers. Hopefully Ja maybe can get in it. It kind of seems like once these guys become mega superstars, they kind of shy away from the dunk contest and things like that as well. You know what? I don't know if he's entering it, but if he is, I got my money on Klay Thompson and winning that 3-point contest, man. He played tonight. It was play day for Golden State today. His first game back. He's doing pretty well tonight right now. Almost halftime, I think, of their game. I know he's in double digits.
He's got 17 right now. He's got 17 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist right now. 3 for 8 from 3.
Man, I know he's been itching. He got
17 points in 19 minutes, y'all.
He felt disrespected. He wasn't in the top 70.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, they're hungry, man. They're hungry. They're number two overall right now, and they're getting one of the top 15 guys in the league back. They're a scary team right now. So I really hope Klay gets in the 3-point contest. I'm looking forward to the dunk contest, but we'll have to see who's in it in order to, really see where my interest level is.
Zay?
Definitely, and some awesome takes right there for sure. I think going back to your first point, T, Darius Garland in the All-Star voting in general, with it being in Cleveland, who knows?
That's a great point.
So far this season, and with it being in Cleveland, you never know. They might show love, and it's gonna be a younger All-Star game this year, like overall compared to latter years. Obviously you're gonna have LeBron there and KD there, but outside of that, the stars, they all under 25. If you look at it, you got Ja Morant, you got Luka, if he's able to. He's in my 5, so I'm just gonna count him in automatically. But Trae Young, Levine,
Booker been in the league for 10 years, but he's still under 25 somehow.
Yes, it is crazy. So it's gonna be a lot of youth there, and that's leads me into my exciting part. My most exciting, hopes of the All-Star game is just seeing all these guys in one spot competing against one another in the game in general. I think the game is my favorite part, but the dunk contest is gonna be cool, especially if Ja Morant heads in there. Just saw a block. He just jumped and touched the top of the backboard to block somebody's shot on the Lakers. And it's like, man, that guy can fly. And we knew that back at his Murray State days. And he's just been showing that it's like he jumps one inch higher every year. Every year he gets older. So that's pretty awesome to see. And then, Zion, you hope he could get in the dunk contest, but I'm gonna keep hoping on that one. And then the 3-point competition, Klay, he's had a great game, just coming back one game. So who knows? The NBA might say, and they know it'd be good for marketing.
I want Klay versus Steph. I want Klay versus Steph.
Yes, and that would be an awesome finals. And who do you think will win, T?
Who I think will win? I got to go with the greatest shooter of all time, at least the greatest 3-point shooter. People get it twisted. People say the greatest shooter, like a lot of different shots in basketball. The greatest 3-point shooter is definitely Steph Curry. They have done this before. That's the cool part about it. If you are a part of Golden State's franchise and their program, that they have battled this out over the years before. I would just like to actually see it on live TV. I know they've been in the 3-point contest before, but I don't think they've ever gone against each other in the finals. So I'm probably predicting that right now. I would have to go with Steph Curry in that matchup. But look, fans do not lose if they're able to see that matchup. I think Devin Booker, who has been in it before, has possibly won it before. I mean, he would have something to say there. There's a couple other guys I'm probably forgetting about. But yeah, I mean, it's all fun. It's all for the fans. And I think the NBA, they have finally found a way to do it right. And look, we look up, NBA has the best All-Star weekend of any sport. Look, I'm not a huge hockey fan, but hockey probably is second. If you talk about the 4 major sports, I think baseball is a distant third. Really, baseball and football are kind of, battling it out for the worst spot, because football is just hard to replicate an actual football game. It's more of just a vacation for those guys, and it's a week before the Super Bowl. You don't have the top players that are actually in the Super Bowl playing in their All-Star game, the quote-unquote All-Star game for the NFL. So I think that's watered down, and baseball is just, the home run derby is pretty cool, but the actual game is, take it or leave it. But in terms of the All-Star weekend and the 4 major sports, who actually does it correctly now, it's head and shoulders the NBA.
Yeah, and that's where, if you look at the NBA, man, there's so many mega stars that come out, actors, actresses, just so many famous people coming out to watch that. Rappers come out. It's a great weekend, but I want to add one sleeper pick to the 3-point contest.
Give it to us.
Gotta give a shout out to my boy Grayson Allen, man.
Grayson, yes.
He's 4th in shooting percentage this year from behind the 3. I think he started every single game except one for the Bucks this year. So he kind of rejuvenated his basketball career as well. And also another little shout out here, going back to Coach Zay and his AAU team, GR3. Glenn Robinson won the dunk contest in 2017.
True story. True story.
So the nice little hometown representation right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all an exciting event. But like you said, basketball does it the best. Mm-hmm. I am a big fan of the baseball home run derby. I think that's a pretty big show that they put on, especially when you got guys hitting 500-foot bombs. That's probably second for me. But yeah, football is kind of hard to do anything like that.
Yeah. And for the fans out there, Sunday, February 20th is the actual All-Star game. That weekend, of course, we'll have the other festivities as far as the skills competition, the world versus the young guys game, and I still got to find a name for that. And then the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, all that. But it will culminate on Sunday, February 20th, with the actual All-Star game for 2022. So looking forward to that. And again, those are our starters and just our rundown of the All-Star game for this year. Speaking of Clay, I just got an alert from ESPN, and Golden State won that game 96-82 against Cleveland. I don't have the stats for Clay because I don't want to waste time trying to open my phone for that, but Clay had a nice little one-hand dunk. And it looked like he had nearly 20 points in 20 minutes. So, BG, you may be right, man. Clay is back.
But to touch on your point, the name of that game is I'm pretty sure it's the Rising Stars Challenge.
Yes.
Okay. And then it's USA versus the World is the format they've done the last couple of years. So.
Okay. Dope. All right. Cool. So let's wrap it up, man. Our last segment for the Coach T, the first with BG and Zay, the first one, the NBA show. We will talk about. We'll make a couple predictions. Let's say. We'll talk about the upcoming games, the top games, quote unquote, that we feel in our hearts are the top games for the upcoming week. I will begin. I have 4 of them, and we'll talk about them. And if there are any other games we want to talk about, we can do that. So you guys just interject how you feel. The first one that I saw will be Wednesday of this upcoming week, January 12th. You have the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference against the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. Number 2 being the Brooklyn Nets, number 1 being the Chicago Bulls. This game will be hosted on, or I guess you can view it on ESPN at 9 p.m. Central on Wednesday. I don't have the line for this game, and I've realized that the NBA, they don't have lines this early. I mean, we're talking 3 days out, but I would assume it's going to be a close number, a close line. I would assume the Chicago Bulls are going to be the favorite since they're at home. But what are you guys' take on that matchup? What are you intrigued to see for that game?
I mean, like you said, man, it's the top two teams in the East. The Bulls are hot right now. They dropped one. The Nets, they're also real hot right now too. I mean, they got three of the,
Kyrie can play in this game.
Yeah, and Kyrie can play in this game. So they got three of the top 15 guys in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see how teams adjust to the way Brooklyn's playing. I mean, we talked about it after our game the other day when we were, eating some pizza, man. It's almost better for the Nets to be on the road in the playoffs because then they get Kyrie back. I mean, Kyrie is a stud, man. I know he's had some off the court, people want to call it drama or whatever, but I mean, he's just a man of his morals and he knows what he wants to do and he sticks to it. And, put all that aside, he's still one of the best players in the league and he's probably got the best handles in the league ever. So, I mean, this is a great matchup, man. The Bulls, they're going to have to play some great defense. They're going to have to be locked in on that end of the floor, try to keep this game hopefully under 110, closer to 100, and see what they can do.
Yeah, and to that point, you talk about the Nets being away. The Nets in their last 5 road games, they won them all. Like, they're actually, I think, if I remember correctly, and I read a stat, they're actually better this year on the road than they are at home in New Jersey. So, go figure. Zay, what do you feel about this game? What are you intrigued to see?
Definitely the Bulls. Coming off what could have been a longer streak, they lost tonight to the Mavericks 113-99. I feel like they're going to be hungry. These guys, they haven't lost more than 3 times in a row this season. So, but they've also followed up each win outside of one. They followed up each win with another win. So I could see them getting this win against the Pistons early in the week and then turning back to get the win against the Nets. These guys are hungry. It's a young group of guys and they've already defeated the Nets once this year. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome game. I definitely agree. From the Nets point of view, having Kyrie Irving, that's going to be pretty cool to see. Those tickets probably very expensive, and that line is probably Vegas.
Well, get us the hookups, eh? Come on, a lot of people in Chicago, man. Get us the hookup, man. I'm trying to get floor seats, my brother.
Hey, for real. But no, yeah. So I can only imagine the lines in Vegas probably. Their heart's gonna be beating fast when they making that line because it could really go either way. It's gonna come down to the final stretch. If you look at the last score, that was 111 to 107 back on the 4th of December. That was a close game, but at the same time, you had Demar Derozan finishing with 30 plus points. So if you could get that type of performance and get that type of performance for the Bulls, it's going to be a good game for them. Also, if you can contain Kyrie, which he wasn't playing last time, it'd be a good game for the Nets. So the Nets, Bulls, good game to watch.
Yeah, definitely good game to watch. I'm excited to watch it again. This will be a 9 o'clock Central Time on ESPN Wednesday the 12th. Kyrie will be able to play, so that's going to be really good. Again, I would assume that the Bulls are going to be a slight favorite here. I don't know what the over-under would be. I would definitely take the over here. TV game. I just feel like these guys are going to show out. And like you guys mentioned, these teams have played before. Chicago won the last matchup in Brooklyn, or I guess in New Jersey, because that's where they play. But again, this game is pretty much a week before All-Star break. I think earlier in the week, I know the Bulls play the Pistons. I think maybe they'll sit a couple guys just prepping for this game, just to load up for that one. Brooklyn, they have an earlier game next week. I think they may do a similar thing because to me, these are one of those games where, yes, it's a regular season game, but it will have a lot of importance when it comes to home court advantage and when it comes to just psychologically, having an advantage over that opponent if you end up facing this team. One of these teams end up facing the other in the actual playoffs. Next big matchup that I saw next week that we're going to talk about Thursday, the next day, the January 13th, we're going to the Western Conference. You have the number 2 team in the Western Conference, which you just hit on, Golden State, who clearly has Klay Thompson back. They're going to be fully loaded there, and then they're facing the Milwaukee Bucks, who are number 4 in the Eastern Conference. This is a TNT game, 6:30 tip-off, Central Time. I'll start first here. I like the Bucks in this matchup. Like, the Bucks have always, to me, been a team that they have always represented correctly, especially at home when they are playing a quote-unquote another top team. I don't know what their record is against Golden State over the years, but I feel like they have fared pretty well against Golden State recently. Now, again, Golden State has not had Klay Thompson. They haven't been fully healthy over the last couple of years, but I just feel like Milwaukee Bucks, they normally represent when it comes to, playing another top team, and they'll be at home here. So I really like them there. I'm intrigued to see, again, we talked about him numerous times, but I want to see how Klay Thompson plays. And I also want to see how Draymond, how he navigates, again, to me, I know Steph Curry's the listed point guard, but in my opinion, Draymond's their point guard. So I want to see how he navigates, what's their game plan when it comes to playing against the Bucks, a team that has a lot of front court presence. When you talk about Giannis, you talk about Portis, you talk about Brook Lopez, you talk about some of the other guys they have in the front court, and then we know about their guards with Middleton and Drew Holiday. I just want to see how Draymond is able to navigate, because he's going to be guarding Giannis, and then he's going to have to turn around and play point guard. So that is going to be a really good matchup, and I'm going to be locked in and tuned in for that game. What do you guys think?
I think Klay goes for over 30. I'm telling you, Klay
30 piece, huh?
Ever since that top 75 team came out, Klay, I mean, this dude probably has it all posted all over his room, man. We
need that Jordan meme. Hey, and I took that as disrespect.
This dude, I'm telling you, this dude feels disrespected. He knows, and I think he got, he should have been on that list, man. He's probably, some argue, the second best shooter of all time, man. And I know Reggie and Ray Allen, they got, more career threes made, but when you talk about just a pure jump shot, Klay's probably got the prettiest shot in the
textbook,
history, man. I mean, this dude scored over 40 points one time with under 6 dribbles. I mean, he's a stud.
Over 60 points. I think he had 37 in a quarter. Another game.
I mean, he's just on a different level, man, and he's hungry. I mean, tonight I didn't expect him to have as good of a start as he did tonight. He'll have another game under his belt before he goes into that Milwaukee game. So I think he'll play not a full game, but his minutes will pick up a little bit by the time they get to Milwaukee. I think he goes for over 30. I really do.
I like it.
And the Warriors take the dub.
Okay. All right. So you're making a little prediction. Okay. I got the Bucks there. You got the Warriors. BG. Zay, you want to break the tie, man? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. Klay Thompson. Yes, we're glad he's back, but this isn't 2 years ago. Tonight he went 7 for 18, so that's 38% shooting, 3 for 8 from 3. Yes, they got the win, but you look at his plus minus. According to ESPN, it was -2. So
come on,
the Bucks are not the Cavs, and I would look for that to be a factor. Not only are the Bucks not the Cavs, but also Klay hasn't played in 2 years, so his endurance isn't going to be there enough for him to play a full game. He played 20 minutes tonight, and I just don't see Klay being able to do it consistently right away. If he is, please prove me wrong. I definitely agree. He definitely should be in the top 75 list for players. He's definitely top 30 or no, top 20 NBA players right now. but he just came off of an injury, so we have to look at that. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Yeah, so people out there, Zay, I'm going to make you our resident prop guy, our resident betting guide, okay? So if there are any props there, BG said Clay over 30. Maybe you can search that, look that up, man, and see if you can find some good odds there. But you will be our resident betting / prop guy, okay? I'll make you that. All right. I got one more matchup. I had 2 on my list. But it's getting kind of late, and the third on my list, we already talked about these 2 teams. That would be Friday night, January 14th on ESPN. You got Golden State against the Bulls. I think that's going to be a wonderful game. I mean, that goes without saying. But I want to talk about this next game and our final game. This will be Friday, same night, January 14th. This is also on ESPN. This is the 9 o'clock Central Time tip-off. So this is the late game. This will be the Dallas Mavericks against the Memphis Grizzlies. And the reason why I am pinpointing this game is the fact that you have number 4 versus number 5 in the Western Conference. So again, number 4 in any conference, that means you have home court advantage. So you got to be able to take advantage of that. So this is 4 versus 5. So you know they're going to be battling it out. And the fact that, again, these are teams that they're hot teams that have players that we've talked about and teams that we've talked about all throughout this show about their potential and what they could do and just the type of season they're having thus far. So I'm really, 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 really intrigued by this game. I would be shocked if Luka doesn't play. I would imagine Ja Morant's going to play. He's been there. Dylan Brooks, another cat that we never talk about for Memphis, but I love him. I know he's kind of been in and out of the lineup. But to me, it's another matchup. I'm going with the home team, y'all. Like, I'm going with Memphis. They are proven to me, again, winners of 8 straight. They've beaten the Lakers. They've beaten the Nets. They've beaten some top dogs, and they've gone against the best, and they do not back down. If you guys know anything about the Memphis Grizzlies, you know they don't back down, and that starts with Ja Morant. He's a dog. He's a player that the players follow after. He ain't scared of nobody, and their entire team plays that way. So I got the Grizzlies in this matchup, but again, I think that's going to be a wonderful game. Again, a tip-off, 9 p.m. Central Time on ESPN, the nightcap for Friday night. And the fact that it's a Friday night game, I was actually telling my buddy this. These NBA games on the weeknight or on the weeknights are totally different than the weekend game. So this Friday night game where all the fans going to be, they just got paid. It's Friday night. You know what I mean? The building's going to be packed. This is a TV game. There's going to be a bunch of points scored. And I got the home team again winning this matchup.
Yeah, like we talked about it, it's probably the 2 hottest teams in the West right now. The Mavs won 6 straight coming in tonight. They beat the Bulls, so that's 7 straight. They got the Knicks coming up. I'm thinking the Mavs will win that one. So it looks like the Mavs might take an 8-game winning streak or more going into this game. Right now, Memphis is up pretty big on the Lakers right now. So if they hold that one out, they're looking at a 9-game winning streak. So it could be the battle of the winning streaks going on. But I think you touched on it, and I'm going to have to go with the Mavs just because they are sitting in that 5th seed behind Memphis. And they're 4.5 games behind them right now. And I think this one, they need to make a little bit of a mid-season push right here just to try to gain some ground and not lose some ground on Memphis. But I do love Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant, he goes into every game with an opposing point guard like Luka and just wants to prove that he deserves to be on that level. So I think he'll have a big showing, but I think at the end of the day, the Mavs get it done. A big night from Luka. Let's go with a triple-double from Luka.
I like it. And we talk about props. We talk about big performances. You got triple-double for Luka in that matchup. My boy, I'm telling y'all, man, check him out next time you see the Grizzlies play. Desmond Bane right now against the Lakers through 3 quarters? Not even halfway through 3 quarters. He's got 18 points, got 4 rebounds, got 2 assists. He's 4 of 6 from 3. So in this matchup against the Mavs on Friday, I got Bane going for 30 plus. So you can check the odds on that, Zay. Get it back to us, you know, at a later date. But fans out there, for sure, Desmond Bane is a name to watch, and I think he getting a 30-piece against the Mavs this Friday in a win. Zay, you muted. I'm sure you're making some great points while being muted.
Bouncing off that point though, Desmond Bane, you just look at this Memphis roster. These guys can ball. You know, you got Desmond Bane, obviously Ja Morant, but you have a good quality of role players on the team as well. Kyle Anderson, Steven Adams, a great veteran, and then, you know, Jared Culver, Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyus Jones. This is a squad. This is a squad, and it's not saying that Dallas isn't a squad, but these guys, they're on a roll. You know, when you know how to win, you know how to win, and these guys know how to win. And with Ja Morant doing what he's doing this year, averaging 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, you know, he's a triple-double waiting to happen. You know it's eventually going to happen. And I think in a game like Dallas, when he's playing Luka, another young rising star, he's going to have to prove himself. And those are the games where he's shown that he can come and he will play his heart out for those games. And, you know, you see it tonight playing the Lakers, and he's doing this. I mean, he's not having the best game, but he also bounces back. He bounces back. In the last 10 games, he's been averaging 27 points per game. So that not only shows you that he's scoring, but also if he does have a bad game, he's going to bounce back. And then also, last point, you look at his plus minus tonight. Even though he's 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists to this point in the game, he's +5 on the plus minus ratio. You know, I'm a big plus minus guy. What are you doing on the court to help produce and help your team get the W?
Big analytics guy.
Doing something.
Big analytics guy, man. You seem like a very smart guy, so that makes sense. Cool. So you guys want to add anything else for that game or any other game you guys saw? I mean, to me, you know, those were the games that were the top games. That if you're talking about playoff implications, you're talking about just matchups of top teams. Those were the games that I saw in next week's slate where I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a nice little battle. I'm gonna be tuned in for sure.
Yeah, the only other thing I had was on Tuesday night you got Warriors at the Grizzlies, so that's a nice little game.
There were a lot of Warriors, man. There were a lot of Warrior options. That was one.
They got a tough week next week, man.
Yeah, they do.
Clay's opening up to a tough week, and then Saturday night we talked about it a little bit, but you got Philly going to Miami, the 5 seed in the East versus the 3 seed. Philly, you know, 7 out of their last 8 on a hot streak right now and be balling out. But man, Miami's playing well too, man. They got a lot of guys that just play their role. You got Jimmy Buckets. Bam's been out for a while. He's probably going to be out for a few more weeks.
I think Jimmy Butler is out for a little bit with the foot injury.
Yeah, so
they're used to guys being in and out of lineup. You're right.
Yeah, so I mean, this next guy up there, and they got a good culture down there in Miami. You know, South Beach, doing it right down in South Beach. So that's a nice little matchup on Saturday night as well.
The Mafia, Miami Mafia for sure. All right, guys. I mean, that's gonna wrap it up, man. I want to, hey, for the fans out there, I'm sure right now they're clapping it up, so I'm gonna clap it up for you guys, man. I'll add a little sound effect, a little clap. Thank you guys for doing this. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow, so don't worry. You'll see my face more often or a lot more often than the fans will, because I see you guys every day. So wonderful job tonight. I always end it with, you guys have anything you want to say to the fans, to the people out there, or do you have any special shout outs? Your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your girlfriend, your cat, dog, your roommate, your homie, your homegirl, whatever it is. You got any shout outs? You got anything you want to say to the people out there? Shoot.
No, I mean, the only shout out I got, and you know, we joke about it, but hopefully we can get Coach Mike Brown on the show sometime soon. You know, the other partner in crime to our coaching staff. You know, it'd be nice to get him on, but we know his takes are pretty biased, one-sided takes. So
shout out Michael Brown, man. Shout out Michael Brown.
Going to practice playing together for tomorrow, watching some game film, so he doesn't have time for this kind of stuff. But
no, shout out to him, man. I like that. Shout out to our team too, man. Zay, what you got?
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Coach Brown. You know, I know he would enjoy this, even though he's a hard worker, and I definitely respect that. But I know he would enjoy being on something like this. Maybe, you know, once. You never know, Coach Brown. So hopefully you listening. Hopefully you could join us one day. But no, shout out to the normal, you know, my mom, my dad. I know you guys are going to be listening, and my girlfriend. I know you guys are all going to be listening. Shout out to all of you guys.
Shout out to the fam, man.
Shout out to the fam, and definitely shout out to Coach T's audience. You guys are amazing. And, you know, I see you guys on the internet and just love it. I love it, and I'm glad to be a part of this with you guys.
I don't think I ever really did this, at least not for a while, but I definitely want to shout out my mom, my dad. I want to shout out my siblings. I want to shout out my lovely wife. I want to shout out my son, who is now actually officially on the intro. I put my son on the intro. So if you hear a little baby voice on the intro with the drops, that is my son Tyson. So I had to do that, man. And my wife is actually on the intro too a little bit. So shout out to them. I'm actually about to go hang with my wife now. We got a little free time. The boy is with his grandparents, so we can maybe drink some wine, sip a little bit, and just sit back and chill. So fans out there, as always, thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Continue to listen. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend and then tell another friend about the show. And we'll continue this, man. I'm happy to have you guys, BG and Zay. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your patience. We talked about this for a long time. I know I got the college football show wrapping up. You know, tomorrow is the last college football game, and then we'll have one more show with that. NFL, the playoffs are right around the corner, so football is kind of on the tail end. So we figured this would be a great opportunity to get right into the NBA at a time where, I mean, things are heating up. So fans, continue to show support, continue to show love, and we'll keep bringing you that funk. Peace.